In the bustling street there was a little boy who held a coin tightly in his hand and asked with anticipation from shop to shop, "Do you have a god to sell here?" However, most of the shopkeepers felt that the little boy was mischievous. Some shopkeepers ignored him, while others kicked him out of the store without saying anything. As night fell, the little boy did not give up and timidly entered the 69th store. Again, he asked, "Do you have a god to sell this?" The owner of this shop is an old man with silver hair. He looked at the little boy and asked, with a smile and curiosity, "Son, why did you buy God?" When the little boy heard someone respond, the sadness that had been suppressed in his heart instantly welled up like a tide, and tears came out of his eyes. He choked up and told his boss that his parents had passed away very early, and his uncle had worked hard to raise him. Now my uncle fell off the scaffolding while working on a construction site and has been unconscious. The doctor said that only God could save him, so he wanted to buy God back and let his uncle eat it so that his uncle's injuries would be healed. After hearing this, the old man's eyes couldn't help but moisten. He then asked, "What hospital is your uncle in? What's his name?" The little boy replied truthfully. The old man smiled and said, "Coincidentally, I happen to have a god here." With that, he turned around and took a bottle of drink called God's Kiss from the shelf, handed it to the little boy and said, "Take it, child. Your uncle will be fine with this bottle of God, but you will need to pay $1. The little boy's eyes were full of wonder and hope, and he carefully took the drink, held it tightly in his arms, bowed and thanked the old man, and then ran away. The next day, a team of the world's top medical team took a special plane to the hospital where the little boy's uncle was located and conducted a joint consultation with the little boy's uncle. After careful treatment, the boy's uncle eventually recovered and was discharged from the hospital. But when he saw the sky-high medical bill, he almost fainted. Relieved by the doctors, he learned that an old man named Bundy had paid all the bills for him, and that the medical team had been brought in by Mr. Bundy at great expense. The boy's uncle was so excited that he immediately took the boy to the grocery store to find Mr. Bundy to thank him. However, the clerk told them that Mr. Bundy was already out on his trip and told them not to worry. It turns out that Mr. Bundy is a billionaire, and that this grocery store is just one of his ancestral properties, and he often passes the time here in his free time. In a quiet little town, there lived a poor boy. Every day he pushed a small cart through the streets, selling handmade crafts to make a living and pay for his tuition. One day, the boy felt incredibly hungry, and even walking became difficult. He gathered his courage and decided to ask for some food in front of a house. He gently knocked on the door, and when it opened, a beautiful young girl appeared before him, like a ray of warm sunlight. The boy was momentarily stunned. Despite his empty stomach, he only asked her for a glass of water. The girl noticed his hunger and, without hesitation, went inside. A moment later, she came back with a large glass of fresh milk and some bread. The boy gratefully accepted the food, his eyes shining with appreciation. As he ate cautiously, he silently wondered, "How much should I pay you for this?" The girl smiled and shook her head. "I don't charge for kindness." Her words made the boy smile as he had never smiled before. From the bottom of his heart, he thanked this angelic girl, and as he left, he glanced at her with deep affection. Years passed, and the girl fell ill with a rare neurological disease. Many renowned doctors were helpless, and she was eventually sent to a large hospital. At that time, Dr. Kevin, a famous expert, was called in to examine her. As soon as he entered the room, he instantly recognized her. In the following days, Dr. Kevin fought with all his strength against the illness and finally restored the girl's health. People in the hospital praised him, but the girl was terrified of the upcoming large bill, knowing she could not afford it. Dr. Kevin decided to send the bill to himself and wrote a note stating that he would cover all the costs. When the girl received the bill, she felt anxious, not knowing how much she would owe. But when she opened it, tears welled up in her eyes. All the fees had been canceled. What touched her even more was a note that read, "The bill paid many years ago with a glass of milk." One sunny morning, a little boy was walking on his way to the market. As he walked down the bustling street, he suddenly noticed an elderly woman who had accidentally fallen on the sidewalk. She looked weak and frail, and the people around her hurried on without stopping. Without hesitation, the boy walked over, gently helped her up, and asked if she was hurt. The elderly woman thanked him in a trembling voice, though her words were unclear. Seeing her distress, the boy decided to help her further and slowly walked her back to her home. Along the long path, he supported her, letting her lean on his small shoulders as they went. When they arrived at her house, her family was deeply moved by the boy's kindness and quickly invited him inside to rest, expressing their gratitude. However, the boy humbly declined and simply said, "It's what I should do. Helping others is everyone's responsibility." After a few polite words, he continued on his way. Months later, the boy's father suddenly fell ill and urgently needed an expensive surgery. The family found themselves in financial trouble, unable to gather enough money despite borrowing from all sides. The boy felt hopeless and didn't know what to do. Just when they were about to give up, a stranger appeared at the hospital, looking for the boy. The stranger handed him an envelope containing enough money for the surgery. The boy was stunned and didn't know how to react. With a gentle smile, the stranger explained, "Do you remember the elderly woman you helped a few months ago? She's my mother. She's never forgotten your kindness and often spoke about you. She asked me to find you and help you when you were in need." Upon hearing this, the boy was moved to tears. He realized that the kindness he had shown, so quietly given, had come back to him in a way he never expected. This experience deeply changed the boy. He began to actively participate in various charitable activities, spreading love and care. He understood that every selfless act of kindness would, in time, return to its giver. And he decided to pass this love on, helping others whenever he could. This story teaches us that kindness is an invisible power. It not only makes us feel good, but also has the potential to make the world a better place. We should never expect immediate returns when we help others, because the rewards of kindness might appear when we least expect them. Let's all follow the example of the boy, treating others with a kind heart and spreading kindness to make the world a warmer and better place.